I just came to pay my respects. Rest in peace, my brother Afrika Bambaataa, man.
Loved ones, friends, and colleagues paid their respects to hip-hop legend Afrika Bambaataa at his funeral in the Bronx Thursday.
Bambaataa was always an inspiration to me, and he always put me on shows that other people wouldn't put me on.
We go way back with Afrika Bambaataa from 1976 when he used to DJ.
Born Lance Taylor in 1957 in the South Bronx, Bambaataa was raised by his mother in a housing project at a time when the South Bronx was in decline due to years of neglect.
Now let's go. House.
Said to be inspired by Kool Herc, who has been called the father of hip-hop, Bambaataa began playing what became his signature beats at an early age in the 1970s by repurposing and mixing old hits.
Great inspiration. Musically, off the chain as well.
Eventually, Bambaataa came to be known as a founding pioneer of hip-hop, best known for tracks like 1982's Planet Rock and for founding the Universal Zulu Nation Art Collective.
If it wasn't for him, a lot of people would not be on the map right now.
Planet Rock. I love that. Planet Rock. Rock, Planet Rock. You stop. I love it, yeah.
In recent years, his legacy was overshadowed by allegations of sexual abuse. In 2016, Bronx political activist and former music industry executive Ronald Savage publicly accused Bambaataa of abusing him in 1980 as a young teen, allegations that Bambaataa has denied. Afterwards, a number of other men came forward claiming similar abuse by Bambaataa, and last year he lost a civil suit alleging child sexual abuse and trafficking due to a default judgment after failing to show up for court.
His allegations, I get it, but he was never arrested for his allegations, neither was Michael Jackson, so why are we going to disrespect him like that?
You know, it's unfortunate, the situation that happened with him, in other words, and hopefully everything, it's working out.
Nia Clark, New York 1.
I mean, I have to owe it to this man sitting here over here, Afrika Bambaataa.
Where's he?
Who
stand, please.
Initially started rap music.
All right, folks, so as you can see from them clips, this was homegoing for Bam. And the people were paying tribute to him. And of course, I attached another clip where somebody was giving Bam his props and everything from the Geraldo show. So props to Spectrum New York, which is where the first clip came from, and props to the Geraldo show, that was a prominent talk show from the 80s and 90s. And let me get to my commentary. Now, as most of you know, I'm a Gen Xer. I came up in the 80s. And in the 80s, when I listened to rap, particularly, in the later half of the 80s, when Yo Unto You Raps was popping and all that, a lot of rappers gave props to Bam, whether it be in songs or whether it be having him cameo in music videos, or whether you have a panelist on Geraldo giving him his props and everything. So that was pretty much, standard and commonplace for, the rappers of that time in the 80s and the 90s to really pay homage to Afrika Bambaataa and whatnot. I mean, when you hear like a song like, Move Something by the 2 Live Crew, they kind of paid homage in their own way. Because if you do listen to that song and whatnot, some of it does have some, music that was used in Planet Rock and all that. And I'm sure there's countless of other songs that have the Afrika Bambaataa and Soul Sonic Force influence. And I know what you're going to say. Well, he got it from Kraftwerks. Well, it's no different than any other rappers that were coming out in the 80s that got their whole style and whole beat format from James Brown records. So why are we going to single out Afrika Bambaataa? Come on now, quit being silly. So yeah, getting back to this, Afrika Bambaataa was buried in Woodlawn Cemetery in the Bronx. His funeral was Thursday, April 16, 2026. Visitation was 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Service was 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And it was at Grand Beach Funeral Home in White Plains Road in Bronx, New York. There was no recording, photography, or dissemination is permitted without prior written consent. Violators will be removed and may be subject to legal action. So when you seen the footage, the news segment that was shot by Spectrum News out in New York, it was the outside of Grand Beach Funeral Home where they interviewed some random funeral goers there. And it's unclear whether any celebrities attended, but that was probably under the violators agreement and everything. So, and I'm sure the celebrities that may have been there were incognito and probably didn't wish to be recorded or photographed at the funeral. And I understand, you know, some people just don't want to be associated with what Bam was accused of and whatnot, you know, whether he's innocent or guilty. And I mean, Bam, you know, when he was alive, he didn't really clear his name up. And as I addressed in my response to the Conscious Lee YouTuber, the reason why Bam didn't really come out or was forthcoming with his side of the story was he didn't want to be liable or subject to a defamation suit. And two, he wasn't on trial for any of that. I mean, if we go in a legal sense, the case falls outside the statute of limitations. So whether he did it or not, we really won't know because there's a statute of limitations there. And, you know, the whole point of Ron Savage coming out was to, you know, get New York to really relax and change up those statute of limitation laws. But he wasn't successful at that. And since then, Ron Savage has backed off of his story. I mean, only two notable people came out against Bam, and the rest who did come out, their names are withheld. And I understand, you know, privacy, and some people just don't want to be, you know, embarrassed or scrutinized like that in their workplace or around their friends. So they're just keeping it, you know, confidential. But, you know, I mean, it begs a question. I mean, I said this, I said, you know, how will Bam be remembered? And I prefer to remember Bam for how I first got acquainted with him when I was exposed to a lot of those rap videos and rap songs years ago, as one of the pioneers of hip-hop. Whether what happened in his private life or not is something that could be challenged or discussed at another time, or somebody could, you know, debate. But we'll just say that it's up for debate as to whether those events truly did happen or not, because as I said, Ron Savage backed off of his story. And Hassan Campbell, I'm not really going to get into his story. So I just prefer to remember Bam as the hip-hop pioneer and founder of the Zulu Nation, Universal Zulu Nation, and figure that did a lot for MCs that were coming up and everything. And, you know, I mean, and of course, you know, as I said, Bam was mentioned in countless songs. He was cameoed in music videos. He's appeared in movies, and people name dropped the Zulu Nation and even joined the Universal Zulu Nation. So Bam's impact will continue to thrive. along with those allegations, unfortunately. And, you know, you can't really separate those from the person that, you know, pioneered hip hop and started hip hop, even though that is pretty much under dispute thanks to certain content creators that want to be in their best hater mode. So I'm just going to wrap this up and just say R.I.P. to Afrika Bambaataa. He was laid to rest at Woodlawn Cemetery. My condolences go out to his family, friends, and the South Bronx. This is Iron Will Media.